emerging of the £11 billion of savings facing some government departments. First tonight, we'll have our political editor, Nick Robinson, with his report.
Not so very long ago, the Chancellor joked that there was no need for a budget now. After all, he's already announced huge tax increases and he's already put off decisions on the huge spending cuts to come. So today was in truth about the election. Whoever wins, Mr. and Mrs. Darling are very unlikely to still be living at number 11.
Stop the cuts! Save our jobs!
Outside the Commons, a portent of what's to come, a picket line of protesters against government cuts, which the Chancellor had to cross. Inside, the budget speech he delivered was short of economic announcements and long on political positioning.
The task now is to bring down borrowing in a way which does not damage the recovery or the frontline services on which people depend. And at the heart of our decisions is a belief that government should not stand aside, but should instead help people and business achieve their ambitions.
The Chancellor and the Prime Minister are trying to point to a future in which economic growth comes thanks to government help in the form of a one-off package worth £2.5 billion in small business tax breaks, a cut in business rates and an extension of youth employment schemes. And there was more.
I can announce that I will double the stamp duty limit for first-time buyers from midnight tonight from 125,000 to 250,000 for this year and next.
It's the Tories cheering he'd just announced their policy, but there was a sting in the tail.
This relief will be funded through an increase in the stamp duty to 5% for residential property over £1 million from April next year.
How they love that on the Labour benches. Alastair Darling posing as the Robin Hood of British politics, freezing inheritance tax thresholds and tackling offshore tax avoidance.
That we are ready to sign tax information exchange agreements with 3 additional countries: Dominica, Grenada and Belize.
Belize, you may just recall, is the place Lord Ashcroft, the Tories' billionaire donor, keeps his millions. Now, of course, everyone earning above £20,000 will soon be paying more tax under plans the Chancellor's already announced. But today, he wanted to focus on better news, an increase to winter fuel allowance and a delay in rises to petrol duty. But what, you might wonder, about spending cuts?
It's clear that the next spending settlement from 2011 onwards will be very tough, the toughest for decades.
Today, he said, was not the time to tell you where the spending axe would fall. That comes after polling day. The choice now, he claimed, was between those who would suffocate the recovery...
And I commend this budget to the House.
...and, well, him and Gordon Brown. They might have liked it, but what about the money men just downriver? The Chancellor tried to soothe them with the message that borrowing is a little less eye-watering than feared and that he was serious about cutting it. But that, says the Tory leader, is not what they need to hear.
The Chancellor spoke for an hour. He could have done it all in a sentence. Labour have made a complete mess of the British economy and they're doing nothing to clean it up. And I have to say, one figure in the Red Book stands out above all others. They have doubled the national debt, and on these figures they are going to double the national debt again.
And this was his pre-election warning.
They want to tax your car, your phone, your business, your jobs. These are the ticking tax bombshells, time to go off after the election, that will destroy our recovery.
Sometime after the Chancellor sat down, we got all this. Paperwork from government departments with billions of pounds worth of claimed efficiency savings. They say they can cut IT or cut the back office or cut staff sickness. That will mean real cuts in real jobs, not specified, and if they can't find the efficiencies, it could, of course, mean cuts in services too. The Liberal Democrats claim that they are the only ones being open about cuts.
Labour is in denial. The Conservatives are talking tough to cover the truth. They offer more of the same. We needed a budget that gave us honesty in spending and fairness in tax. We got neither.
The budget's a missed opportunity for Scotland. Public spending could have been brought forward so we can have stimulus and recovery, but Labour have turned their back on that. That could cost thousands of jobs.
This pre-election budget may well be judged by the headlines it generates. The next, whoever delivers it, will have to be about cuts, whether voters like it or not. Nick Robinson, BBC News, Westminster.
Well, the Chancellor explained that a tax on bank bonuses is bringing in some £2 billion. That is almost 4 times the original forecast. And this had helped to reduce the budget deficit by some £11 billion to £167 billion, still an immense sum by historical standards. Our economics editor, Stephanie Flanders, has been looking at the budget numbers in some detail.